NBA season started last night with the banner raising for the Denver Nuggets and going against the Los Angeles Lakers, and then the newly built Phoenix Suns going against the Dynastic Warriors. There's not too much to talk about. Obviously, it was the first day of the season, and it's a long basketball season. So, unlike football, you can't really overreact to some of the things that you seeing. But I think we all know. I think we all know where I'm going with this one. The Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. A lot of talk from both sides after the kind of the championship game last year, or the championship series last year, and right out the gates, it was. I mean, they were going back and forth for the most part, and eventually the Nuggets just kept hitting,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got to the second half, and the Lakers kind of hung around, and then LeBron comes in. He is LeBron, and it shows that he's still LeBron, and we're right back to the same question that we've had. AD, what do you got going on, my boy?
It's so annoying, bro, because when is this going to stop? We cannot keep expecting LeBron to be the engine, the best player, the leading scorer of this team night in and night out. You cannot expect that. This is so. It's built so crazy, and AD got off to a hot start, 17 points in the first half. I'm like, okay, AD, you like Joker's giving you work now, but at least you coming back at him. So I think Jokic had 19 points in the first half himself. But then 80, you come out and you put up 6 shots in the whole second half. Like, you put up 5 of those shots in the third quarter, I believe. I mean, you're of course, he only shot 2 threes. Luckily, he didn't need to shoot no 6. I just don't like the pace that he was playing at. He didn't have really any grasp on the control of the game. Like, it was, he just stopped. It seemed like he just stopped trying and really tried deferred. He deferred to fucking D-Lo and Austin Reeves had a couple buckets in that third quarter, especially coming out of the half, like right after half. But it's like, AD, you have to be that guy. And of course, it was all over national media today. Of course, everybody's on AD.
Everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it. Of course, first take this morning.
Folks talking about sending AD for Joel Embiid, and
that was crazy. I was crazy by Nick Wright on first take. I mean, first things first. That was
But one thing that I did see that I've been wanting to say that he needs to play more center, but are we starting to see that, like, hey, AD, clearly he knows himself, and he's been saying he's not a center, he's not a center, he's not a center. Is that something that is kind of a detriment, and maybe the Lakers do need to start looking more into maybe starting a Jackson Hayes, or maybe trading for maybe a more legitimate center that's gonna, not to say that Jackson Hayes and some of the guys that they have over there aren't Christian Wood.
Christian Wood is not
they're all similar in terms of build to AD, where they're kind of slight, they're kind of lean. So do you guys think that is something that the Lakers should really consider?
I think you have to try something at this point. If you put your stock in AD, you gave him a big 3-year contract. You have to put him in position to be that guy night in, night out. And at the end of the day, you sit down and have a conversation. Like, fuck what Bron say. Sit down and have a conversation with AD. Where you want to be at? Like, where do you think on the court? If he says 4, you have to make that move. You can't sit there and tie up all this money. I mean, not really.
I mean, no, I'm saying, don't you think that's crazy that why is it taking this long for you to ask him what he likes to play? Like, he's AD. Like, if you know his potential, he's telling you, look, my potential, I am good when I'm at the 4, when I'm on the block, when I'm this, that, or third. Why is it taking y'all so long to figure, like, hey, just let him, if that's what he can do, if that's what we're gonna get the best out of AD. You're saying for the team, but
I think
what you want for him for the team, it's not working.
I think a lot of that went into just like the collective, though, and AD being the person that he is, he's naturally a person that kind of like defers, and he's like, all right, I'll just do that. So
I think we're on the same page with that. I think that like they and like you said, you should, as a coach, as an organization, go with what the players feel, or and try to put your players in the best position possible. But there's also the aspect of like, hey, that's a part of being a coach, is like you have to coach your guys to improve, or if you see an opportunity where they can improve or be even better. And I think that's what a lot of people envision for AD, because number one, at the center position, he offers a little bit more spacing, and with them being able to put more shooters around him, he can kind of go to work
Right.
how he chooses. But even thinking back on it, and I don't have the stats on hand to kind of back this, but just kind of remembering, back to when he first came with the Lakers, and in his time in New Orleans when he was at power forward, I don't remember really having these AD lulls where he just goes like the entire second quarter or the entire second half without scoring, or he's going the entire game and only getting 2, 3, 4 rebounds or something like that. I don't really remember that. So, maybe that is something and maybe we'll have to look into the stats to see if that backs up that argument. But that is something to kind of keep in mind, to pay attention to moving forward. But outside of that, I mean, there's not really too much to take away. Obviously, it's the first game of 82.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I did say that the Warriors weren't going to make the playoffs. And what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think after that first game?
We gotta take this one honestly, we just gotta take it with a grain of salt for right now. They didn't have
no Bradley Beal
on the other side, no Draymond. They're still trying to figure out how they want to use Chris Paul. Chris Paul shot like 4 for 15 in that game, just hideous, like it's just ugly. So you're still trying to work that in. Even if it is going to work at all, like that's still up in the air. And like a guy like Chris Paul, like that's somebody that could eat. Like I think they'll probably end up trading him at trade deadline if it doesn't go well, which is a high possibility. But I don't want to take too much stock into this loss. I mean, they still had a chance. It was a close game. At the end of the day, it was close, but Phoenix pulled away at the end. Timely plays, collapses on Golden State's defense. That got Nurkic like a free run on a simple pick and roll, a free run to the rim. You would think that Draymond would kind of help with that. So I don't want to put too much stock into this, but I think I do have a lot of questions about both those teams though coming out of this first game, even though it is the first game.
I would say that size was, I mean, you could see that size was clearly an impact against the Warriors. And that was obviously something. One thing that I do want to mention, because I did not mention in the last show when I did say what I said about the Warriors and how I thought that they were going to miss the playoffs, I do want to make sure that it's understood that all of our predictions, and I'm going to speak for all of us, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. All of our predictions come from if the team stays as is. Now, obviously, and then obviously we mentioned James Harden possibly going to the Clippers, so that we already kind of put that in there. But obviously, if the Warriors do get some type of size or something like that, we might have to revisit those predictions a little bit. So I do want to make sure that I get that out there as well. But before they go and get some fucking center, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, or Rashad, you picked the Warriors, like get out of here." But you could definitely see that size was definitely an issue. And coming off Clay kind of saying that he expects this year to be his best year, and tough start. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him taking the paddle boat to
from to the stand. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, bro, you about to play a game? I mean, I don't know. I am not a master of the sea. Don't want to act like I am, so I don't know how that affects your legs. I could only imagine that it probably doesn't help too much. So Clay didn't play too well, and I just don't. I really do not like the reliance of Clay and Andrew Wiggins to be your number two. Like, I just don't.
That's fair. I want to say one thing about Clay. Like, of course, we had those reports come out earlier this week or last week, saying that how him and the organization, they're not close on any kind of contract extension. Looking like he's going to go up to free agency next summer. Clay is a contract year for you, buddy. You got to show, like, you haven't been putting good tape out there for the past couple of years. And, like, I get it. You can count to 4 on your fingers all you want to, but dude, you're like, the flow of the game for you is just not there. Like, okay, you're still one of the best shooters in NBA history. I get that. But what else? You know what I mean? You gotta impact this game. And that's what you were doing before this injury that you're really not. Your shot is off. You're really just out there running.
Not
That's
driving
why
to the
you're
basket.
not. That's what I'm saying. Your shot, you really just out there is cardio. So it's like, dude, you got to impact this game in more ways if you want the contract that you feel like you're worth. And you clearly Golden State is like, nah, you know, at this point. Otherwise, it would have been done by now. So, go ahead, Chris. What you think about it?
Man, they about to trade him.
They might.
I mean,
They about to trade him. I mean,
possibility.
It's so crazy because it's like you want to not, overreact because again, it is an 82 game season, but you kind of can see what's gonna happen or what's gonna transpire. Eventually.
You can see patterns.
When you have question marks, and then in the very first game, it immediately is like it's eye opening.
Everything.
It was ultimately like the size was ultimately the difference in the game. Like it was a close game. It came down to over relying on Steph, like we mentioned, and ultimately like they were just too much. The size was too much, Nurkic was just too much, So, and it wasn't a great KD game. Devin Booker ended up playing, really, really fantastic down the stretch. But it wasn't necessarily like the stars weren't just overwhelming.
Yeah,
so it's something to continue to watch.
The three questions we had about this Warriors team going into the season, you saw them, all three of them in this game, with the size, with the fit with CP, and with who's going to be Steph's help.
And this is
all three of that.
And this is with they got kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? They got blessed with the ability that Draymond was hurt, so they didn't have to deal with the dilemma of bringing Chris Paul off the bench and seeing how that works. So we didn't even really get to see that yet. We don't even know that dynamic either.
Yeah.
So, that's also something to watch, as we mentioned, a few times. And, we can't really talk too much about any other basketball games because a lot of them are going on right now as we're recording this. So,
Celtics are in a dog fight right now.
Yeah, the Cavs are in a dog fight too.
We're gonna hold that down.
Yeah. So if you guys, we'll get into that a little bit next week. But great to have the NBA back. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, they raised their first banner. And we saw them put on a banner performance in the first game.
Boy.
Jokic is,
this shit's so
he
easy.
doesn't care about basketball, quote unquote, but he's still the best or second best, however you like to go with it in the game. So, and that ain't changing anytime soon.
Well, let's talk about that. I wanted to y'all make y'all let's do the top 10 NBA players in the league right now. Let's iron this out before this season gets going to see where y'all at with it.
Okay.
I'll start off.
Go ahead and start off.
Go ahead, Cat.
Should I go 10 to 1? 1 to 10? What you want?
Go to 10 to 1.
10 to 1. So 10.
10 to 1.
10, I got Damian Lillard. All right. He did just come off a 30-plus point average last season. He's an opportunity, whereas he's, Giannis is top dog, yes, but he's still going to have his shot. He's still going to have the ball in his hands a lot, to show what he can do. And he's still a hell of a fucking player, bro. Great shooter, you know what I mean? So 9, I got Kawhi. Now, this is going into the season, right? He's fully healthy. He's a year removed from the ACL, a full year removed from the ACL recovery. So, and I think we saw a little peak of it in the playoffs last season, where he back-to-back 30-point games, controlling the game, how we usually see it with Kawhi. I think he's still a top 10 player. What?
I was gonna say no. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
8, I got KD. A still, at the end of the day, he's still a lethal scorer. There's not much you can do with KD. 7, I got LeBron. I still think LeBron's a better player than KD to this day, and I think it's just to this day. 6, I got Tatum, and this is more of a of course he did average 30 points last year. A lot of this is previous in expectations for Tatum and what I believe he can be. 5, I got Steph. Just is Steph. But I couldn't put him higher than 5. Couldn't put him higher than 4. who is Joel Embiid. I think coming off the MVP season, control on both ends. I couldn't put Steph above that. 3, I got Luka. I just think he's, one of the pure talents in his league, and we've seen from even like the little spurts, that we had in the preseason and little spurts that he had overseas and the FIBA. Like Luka still is that guy, and that's his team. He's still one of the most skilled people in the league. 2, I got Giannis, and 1, I got Jokic. Can't have anybody else at 1 right now.
Ain't too much else to say else about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no SGA because ESPN had AD at 10.
We don't need to. You don't need to hear nothing about SGA.
Yeah, SGA
no disrespect to that
Y'all
man.
don't like SGA?
Bro, he's not a top 10 player.
In my opinion.
Okay.
My opinion.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
10. I got D Book.
That's okay.
I fuck with D Book. Sometimes I think he don't get enough love. Maybe it's just the game he plays. He's not. He's a midi type guy,
bro. That's what it really is. People don't fuck with D Book.
I don't know why, bro. He just be trying to work on his game. That's what he be trying to work on his game.
He just trying to work on the game.
Yeah, so I got him at 10. 9. I do got AD at 9. Hey, AD good, man. I get it. He frustrate everybody. Everybody. I get that, but he is a top 10 player. Like when he plays to the max, like he is a top 10 player. But I get the frustration from everybody as far as just in general. But I got him at 9. 8. I got Kawhi at 8.
Okay.
He's still a top. He's a top player. He's probably the best two-way player in my opinion. Currently. So, and if he is fully healthy, I fully expect him to dominate. I definitely expect him to dominate. What was that? 8. 7. I got KD at 7. I got KD at 7. KD's
still KD now. He's still KD.
It KD, man. He's an elite scorer. You can't take that away from him. He still does what he does year in and year out. Even outside of obviously the injuries that he has suffered.
I still think he needs a point guard.
You said what?
Story. I still think he needs a point guard. But go ahead.
I agree.
Yeah. I get that. What was that? 7?
7. Yeah.
Okay, 6. I got LeBron. It's still King James. You just can't take him out top 10. What year is this for him?
21.
21. But nah. He still does what he does. Year in and year out. He puts in the work. He basically carries the team all the time. Hell, they even talking about is they not using him enough now? Trying to save him for the playoffs. Is his usage going down? They need to keep it up. But LeBron, he's still that guy. I got my boy JT.
Okay,
JT, man. Every year, just not even trying to be a homer, but every year, man, he's just been improving every year. Last year he really stepped up his defense. I think that's one of the underrated things about him, that he does play hella D. Pause. But he's also entering that category as an elite scorer. Like he can get it. He can come from the 3, take it down, dribble, penetration, all that extra stuff, whatever. But I got him at 5. 4.
Speak up.
Luka. I got Luka at 4. What else to say about it? It's something about how he play, man. He just so slow, but it just
he get whatever he wants.
Still, he do whatever he just does whatever he wants. It's amazing to actually watch how he plays, but we ain't gotta go too much into it. But
special talent.
2, I got Joel Embiid.
You missed
reigning.
3.
You said what?
You missed 3.
Oh, 3. I got Joel Embiid. My bad. 3. I got
Okay.
Joel Embiid. MVP, domination, just get what he want. He's one of the few that he's willing to get down that paint. He gonna bang, but he also he gonna finesse with it. He gonna step out. Sometimes that can be to his detriment. He tries to do a little too much guard action when he need to get his ass down in that motherfucking paint. But 2, I got Greek Freak. I mean, just another person, pure domination. Not too much to say about it. You know what's up. You don't know, you lying to yourself. And obviously, one got Jokic. I mean, it's
All
Jokic.
right.
It Jokic, man. I mean,
That's solid.
it Jokic.
And then number 1, you got okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and get into mine. 10-1. At 10, I'm with you there, Chris. I got Devin Booker.
Okay.
Devin Booker he was arguably top 3 player in the playoffs last year. You can make an argument he's been one of the best players in the league, top 5, top whatever, over the past couple seasons, with him and Chris Paul, and then obviously him and KD and Chris Paul. Don't need to speak too much on him. He's obviously a bucket, and we'll see his progression. I guess he's going to be their point guard, so we'll kind of see his progression this year with that. Number 9 is my first surprise. It's the reigning MVP. I got Joel Embiid. Y'all got Joel Embiid pretty high. I just cannot. I've seen enough. Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is a great player. Do not get me wrong, but Joel Embiid is very much as dominant as we say he is. He never seems to show up when we need him. And for that, I cannot have him in my top 5. Even though he is the reigning MVP, his MVP was kind of given more so because it was his time more than he deserved it, in my opinion. But with that being said, this was kind of my hardest 2 right here. So I'm actually gonna go. Or this is number 8, I believe. Actually, so I have Kawhi at 8, but it's really a tie between him and KD.
Okay.
When healthy, I believe that Kawhi is a better player than KD, but when consistently, of course, Kawhi is often hurt. KD is obviously often hurt as well, but not to necessarily the extent of Kawhi.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's my 8 and 7 is both Kawhi and KD. My 6 is Steph.
Okay.
Dominant. Probably one of the scariest players to play offensively. He needs some help, but not too much else to say, as he's aging gracefully, and getting better and better with age. At number 5, here's another surprise here. I've got JT. JT is, as you mentioned, Chris. He's continuing to make.
Did you skip a number?
No, well, 7 and 8 was tied, so technically,
okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. I'm tripping.
So JT, at number 5, obviously he's since his rookie year, he's kind of led the Celtics to be one of the more dominant teams in the league, and he's just all he's missing at this point is that ring. To kind of get him into that next phase with Giannis and Jokic, because I mean, if he's a ring away from us talking about him as that guy.
Yeah.
Number 4, I got LeBron. I still got Bron. As his minutes are dwindling, as the team has changed around him, LeBron continues to make the impact. Obviously, we saw last night, if LeBron stays in, they probably beat the Nuggets. Ultimately, if LeBron stays in, obviously that's been a lot of the talk today. Is right as they were heating up, he gets pulled out. There's nobody that, aside from Steph and maybe Jokic, I really don't think there's too many other players that make the impact that LeBron does on that basketball court. Obviously, he's getting up there in age, and we're expecting, because he's up there in age, we're expecting the decline, but we're not seeing the decline. And eventually, we're gonna have to go with what we're seeing, and what we're seeing. What we're seeing. We're probably talk about somebody that's better than 4, in my opinion, but due to age, I'm gonna give him 4. And then 3, 2, 1. pretty much the same as everybody else. Luka, Giannis, Jokic, with Jokic being number one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jokic is right. I think him and Kyrie are 1 and 2 most skilled players in this league. Jokic can give it to you in the post. He can post up. He actually wants to bang. Chris mentioned that Joel likes to bang. He does get a little dirty sometimes. Jokic will actually bang with you the whole game. Jokic is automatic from three. It seems if he's open, it's going in.
That shit's a bucket.
He hits you with floaters. He hits you with left hand and right hand hooks. I mean everything. He's obviously got the vision. And then what people say is his weakness is defense. It's not really that weak as people like to say, but we always have to go for a weakness when the player is really good. Obviously Giannis is an MVP and a former defensive player of the year. Not too much else needs to be said about him. Pure dominance, probably the most quote unquote dominant player in the league. And then Luka,
Luka.
It's his
Luka magic.
He's made a name for himself since his rookie year. Obviously, we've seen the series where we thought it was the Clippers had all of these top perimeter defenders, and then Luka, the white boy, came and did whatever he wanted.
Boy.
That's rounding out my top 10. Obviously, we pretty much all got the same guys in the top 10, just a little bit of a different order. So we're pretty much all on the same page with that.
Yeah. Chris just got AD instead of Steph, but
yeah,
I let him.
I did. No shot. No slide on Steph. It ain't no slide on Steph here. Fuck Steph.
I want to. All right. What was it, Lil B? Fuck Steph Curry. Was that Lil B or whoever it was?
Lil B was the KD.
Was KD? He got hit with he got hit with that cursing. KD been selling since, but I was saying. But we'll get a little bit more into the NBA next week. All these games, we'll get a week's worth of games by then and kind of see how things are starting to shake out. We always see at least one player start to break out that we didn't expect over the years. We've seen the Shea, obviously James Harden when he got traded to the Houston Rockets. So we might see that with Mikal Bridges or Anthony Edwards taking another step. So hopefully we'll get to the return of Zion. So that's all coming next week.
He's back. Wemby. See what Wemby doing his first few games in the league.
But with that being said, that kind of gives us a wrap for episode 8 of the Speak Up Sports podcast. We appreciate you guys joining in with us every week. Yep. And we'll catch you guys next week.